I live? Yes, I am live. I'm reading out of Scarlet Feather. It's a book written by Joan Grant. She wrote from far memory. She was known as a seer. She was born in 1907 and she died in 1989. She wrote a lot of far memory stories about the lives. She remembered her past lives. This book is about Piyannah and Raki. Many thousands of years ago, they lived in the West, and they were cousins. And Piyannah's mother has passed away, and the two youngsters are now in the tribe of their father, of Piyannah's father, Nakachi. And they have convinced their father, and so had their mother, that the rules had to change. The squaws and the men, the braves, were separated, and there was a very strong belief system in lots of things which could happen to you if you did wrong. We are now at I think it's the 13th or 14th reading, Salt of Danger. Salt, as in salt. If salt had been found in our territory, there would have been no need for us to barter with other tribes. I think my father regretted even so small a dependence on strangers as was caused by the need to send every year at midsummer 2 brown feathers and 6 naked foreheads who carried the salt jars to the place of barter, a month's journey to the south. Beaver pelts, moccasins embroidered with beads, and tunics of fringed doeskin were used by us as exchange. In my grandfather's time, we had sent bows and tomahawks, but Nakachi said, "The wise man does not give weapons into the hands of a stranger, nor display a strength which may be taken for a challenge." There was always a feast on the night the salt arrived, and even naked foreheads and children were allowed a handful of it, which they could eat like honeycomb instead of tasting it only from the common cooking pot. It always surprised me that so much salt was given in exchange for things like moccasins, which could have no real value, while there were hunters to kill deer and squaws to cure hides and do beadwork. There were stories of lakes of salt, where it was plentiful as snow in winter, and a legend that in the land of the great hunters salt was used to spread the paths of the encampments. But this even Raki and I found difficult to believe. The day after the feast of salt in our 16th year, Nakachik sent for me, and I found Raki already with him in the great teepee. "I have news for you both," he said, "which is not yet for the rest of the tribe. This year, Dorok has brought more than salt to save our food. He has brought news of danger to increase our taste for courage. When I spoke to you with the dark smoke to remind you of your responsibilities, you thought I had lied about the possibility of dangers from the black feathers, even though I showed you a forehead thong from one of their warriors. For 3 years they have been slowly migrating westwards, and knowing this, the elders have counseled me that it would be wise for us to seek new hunting grounds. This advice I should have accepted had I not pledged my oath to your mother that on the day that you two put on the double headdress, I shall stand with you at the pool of the before people to tell her that I have fulfilled my word. The black feathers will not respect our boundaries." "Will they?" asked Raki. "During the memory of the grandfathers, they have not sent a spokesman to the gathering of the tribes, which, as you know, takes place every 7 years. It was because they lived so far to the east that many people had begun to think them only a legend. Dorok heard at the place of barter that the tribe of the beaver who are few in numbers and remarkable only for the quality of their pottery, have disappeared. How can a tribe disappear? I asked. They may have migrated and not yet sent word of their new place of the corn growing. A tribe which migrates does not burn down its teepees, nor are human skeletons found under the brambles which have encroached on the planted fields. If they had died of a pestilence, there would have been some who escaped to ask for help. The beavers were massacred by the black feathers. For any other tribe would have allowed the threatened chief to send a spokesman to his neighbors, declaring the purpose of battle and asking that his women and children should be given shelter if his own men could no longer provide for them. It may be that this raid against the beaver resulted in many of the enemies being killed, and that they have learned to respect other men's corn. Or it may be that this conquest will satisfy them for several years, and that if they cross the pass into the valley, it will be to find it free land from which we have already gone to the west. The threat of constant danger is too rich a meat safe for those whose bellies are strong, so this news is to be kept from women, children, naked foreheads, and boys under 14, until such time as it is essential for them to know it. There will always be a brown feather watching the pass, and another 4 days downriver, though I think they will not come that way, for the falls make it impassable to canoes. Piyannah will continue to train with the boys over 16, for with them she will go into battle, unless she wishes to forget the promise of the feathers. Of course Raki and I will fight together, I said. We wanted to do that, even when we were only 11. Raki's part will not be so easy as yours, Piyannah. The best time to learn the color of people's hearts is when they are afraid. When we are threatened, the squaws will forget the small preoccupations in which they conceal their thoughts. And it may be that if there is a leader amongst them, a leader whom they accept as one of themselves, they may discover qualities which give them a greater recognition of their equality than they could ever learn in blind obedience. Raki will take them into the woods, not like a herd of goats in hiding, but as free women who must use their wisdom and strength to protect their children. I shall not even send naked foreheads with them. Those whom Raki has taught to use bow or sling will help him to provide their food. They will kindle their own fires, and this will do much to break the rod of superstition which the old women still wield. Raki has told me that there are already 30 girls near your own age which wish to join your tribe, and that they have sworn to take husbands of their choosing and never to bear children to a man whose name they may not speak. The black feathers may come, and to many of us they will bring death, but to the rest they may help to bring freedom from an enemy older even than the people of the carrion crow, the Lord of separation. I knew it had never occurred to Raki that he might have to stay with the squaws if the tribe were threatened, but we did not argue with Nakachik, for we had both accepted that we must obey his laws if we were ever to be free to make laws of our own. Only one request did Raki make before we left the great teepee. From what I have already learned of women, I know that those who are strong in spirit can eat danger and keep a quiet belly better than a man. They are used to suspense, from having to watch the slow approach of pain which cannot be avoided. It is women, not men, who bear the children. Only those who wish to come with Piyannah and me do I wish to test with this news. If I am able to discuss my plans with them, I shall be doing no more than give them the sense of shared responsibility, which Piyannah will have from Dorok and the Scarlet Feathers. Have I your permission? It has been said that to tell a secret to a squaw and to be surprised when the mockingbirds shouted in your ear is as foolish as to have a fire untended in a plain of dry grass, and to be surprised when the wind rages with smoke. I am a woman, and you trust the secret to me, I said indignantly. Would you not have trusted it to my mother? How is Raki to teach the others to be free if you still repeat sayings without wisdom? To my surprise, instead of being angry, he laughed, a harsh laugh like the cracking of a tree which has grown too old. That was well spoken, my daughter, and I accept a just rebuke. You have played your part as well, so well that Nakachik had forgotten that you were not also his son. Neither Naki nor I believed in danger from the black feathers, for father had used them to deceive us before. I expect Dorok heard some story at the place of barter, I said, and father wants to believe it because it will make us all work harder. Do your women believe it? Yes, said Raki, they do. It makes everything much more interesting. I discussed it with Rokina before telling the others, and she agreed that it was only right they should know and that they must swear not to discuss it except amongst themselves. So I told each of them separately and explained with whom they shared responsibility. He laughed. The others were furious. But why, if they don't know anything about it? Because they know there is a secret, and they keep on trying to find out what it is. Nonna thinks it's something to do with demons, and I've heard it whispered that Dorok brought back beads as well as salt, and that I'm giving them to my friends to wear during the choosing. They can only understand why our people want to learn how to carve and use bows and catch fish. They are very angry about it, for they say that if the hunters discovered that women can collect food as well as prepare it, the squaw's life will be harder than ever. They jeer at us and say that at least our foolishness will never be inherited, for no man will take us into the woods. Do they want to be taken into the woods? Yes, they think of little else. They don't know what is going to happen to them there, but they know that not to be chosen is considered an almost unendurable shame. Sometimes it's quite unendurable, for at least for last year a girl killed herself because no man chose her. She ate death berries. Can you tell them, Raki, what really happens, I mean? If it hadn't been Raki and me, I should have thought he was embarrassed. We don't know much about it, do we, Piyannah? I mean, you don't know any more than I do, and you really are a girl. Don't the girls talk about it afterwards? No, said Raki, they don't. Some of them seem sorry to be back with the squaws, and some of them are terribly glad, but they never say anything about what happened. Aren't the girls told anything before the choosing? I'm sure they're not. They whisper and giggle and tease each other. Some seem to think that the tree spirits make babies, but I'm sure that's nonsense. Do the other boys know all about it, Piyannah? I suppose they don't say anything about it to me because I wear squaw's clothes. The boys boast how they will win the wrestling and earn the best squaw, but I think it's only important because it will show that they have become full members of the tribe. Perhaps they're told when they become brown feathers. I'm sure George and Tikini don't know anything, for they admitted it when they promised not to take a squaw until they joined our tribe. Raki sighed. It's very difficult for us, Piyannah, to have to teach men and women how to have children who can be free and happy, when we don't know how to have children ourselves. I'm glad we came back to the tribe, I said suddenly. I would like us to have children, and if we'd stayed in our little valley, there would have been no one to tell us how to start. And I finished this here. Today is Wednesday, and it is the 1st of March 2023. Happy Wednesday.